Yeah, it's Big Papa P to the cast. I'm here to answer the questions you've asked. I'm listening, I'm thinking, I'm talking real good. I'm telling you what not to do and what you should. And if you share what you learned and get harassed, just tell 'em you heard it on the Daily Solutions Podcast. Yo, it's Slam Diggity Graham, walking it out here like Bam, dishing out that float knowledge like you're attending float college. Put your ears to the speakers and listen up carefully, cause we got those solutions coming at you like daily. Solutions, yo.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone. This is Ashkahn.
And Graham over here. And we got a question for you today.
Nice. That's good.
So just like every day, yeah.
I'm impressed every time.
Which is, and I should say we have an answer for you today, because really the questions are for us.
We got both.
So the question is, we have a crazy idea of draining float tanks and then running 200 gallons of water mixed with vinegar for an amount of time. Do you think that would be some decent cleaning?
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
so
decent,
assumptions.
let's define decent.
Let's make some assumptions first.
I'm
assuming they're talking about doing this like at the point they're draining their float tank.
Anyway, right? Not like they're just draining it.
They're not doing this every night. Dump the water, throw some tap water in there, get
200 gallons of vinegar.
The 200 gallons of vinegar. It's not what they said, but so assuming you're like, okay, yeah, I'm draining my float tank on whatever kind of periodic schedule that I've decided, a year or whatever it is. At that point, should I be doing this crazy scheme? And
sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, so it's not crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Well, we came up with it, so it might be crazy as well. not the vinegar part, but this is something that we've started doing too when we drain our float tanks, is to actually kind of run a full cleaning kind of cycle through them to deal with anything that might be collecting on the inside of the pipes, biofilm, things like that. So certainly the desire to make sure that your entire system is kind of flushed out, as long as you're doing a big drain and fill, I think is totally sane and reasonable.
Yeah, I would probably say the main thing to think about is vinegar is probably not what you want to put in there.
Yeah.
It's just really not that strong of a cleaning agent. I mean, it can clean things. It's good at killing things. It's not as good as many, many other things you could probably use. And as long as you're just putting tap water in there and you're putting some cleaning agent in, and you're going to dump all this afterwards, you might as well use something stronger than vinegar.
Super vinegar.
Yeah, it's like if you let vinegar ferment a third time, then it becomes super vinegar.
So probably bleach is just the easiest thing to be able to toss in there, which is basically just chlorine.
Yeah, bleach is just kind of concentrated chlorine, and you can just put, a decently high concentration.
200 gallons of bleach.
But it's, then you're not going to expose anyone to being in this liquid, right? So you're kind of hitting it probably with a different method than maybe you're used to using with other things that you're typically cleaning your float tanks with, whatever you're using, peroxide or ozone, or relying on the UV or whatever it is. Like even if you're using chlorine, getting to a really high kind of super chlorinated dose of it for a period of time can have kind of an extra like sanitation boost.
Yeah, and it just seems to be like the go-to for a lot of disinfecting too, that you see from different health departments and recommendations. Like bleach is just a really easily available and easy to use disinfectant, as long as you're not worried about, again, people kind of getting in the water afterwards, which you're not. You're just sort of doing a flush and fill. So that's what we decided was pretty much this exact same protocol that you're talking about, where you're emptying your float tank, filling it back up, running cycles through with water, and only in our case we're using bleach rather than vinegar.
And there are calculators online if you want to be a little bit more quantitative about what you're doing. You can find online calculators that'll tell you how much bleach you're pouring in and what level of parts per million of chlorine that turns into. So you can actually kind of shoot for a certain number or do something other than just like turning a bottle of bleach over and counting for 3 seconds.
The old glug and chug method, huh?
Well, I don't know about chugging, but
I'm chugging along. Not
I see.
Yeah.
Take a quick sip, pour some in the float tank.
Half for the tank, half for me. Yeah, don't do that.
But yeah, so this periodic sort of cleaning can be good, especially there's kind of a conversation in the pool and spa world more recently than ever about these things called biofilms, and that's like where certain microorganisms can build up kind of these like protective shell layers outside of them that protects them from the exposure of different sanitizers that would usually be able to kill them. And one of the methods of being able to deal with stuff like that is having these kind of periodic, long-term kind of punches of super sanitation that you do to your system. The best kind of analogy I heard was relating it to keeping your teeth clean. Like you want to brush your teeth every night, but also it's good to go to the dentist once every 6 months and have them do kind of like a more intense cleaning of your teeth that you're not going to be able to do with your toothbrush. And that same kind of logic, I think, makes sense in the world of sanitation. If you have these kind of longer cycles of more intense cleaning, there's, I think, like another step or another effective way of keeping things at bay.
And there's pretty much no harm to it either. You know, as long as you're not adding in enough bleach that you're worried about staining your tubs or something like
your
that in the
filter's
actual
not
float
made of
tank.
ammonia or something.
There's not really any concern to your float tank for doing it. So other than a little extra time spent in when you're draining it out, doing this intermediate step before immediately refilling with salt water, you know, that's really the only cost of adding in what I think is a really nice precaution to other things growing in there or anything that might be hanging out in your pipes.
So you're not crazy. I guess that's...
Or we're all crazy, one of the two,
yeah. So we're in it together if that's the case.
And if you have any more questions you want to send over to us, go to floatanksolutions.com/podcast.
And we're going to see them if you send them there, so...
Yeah, and while you're online too, why don't you should go leave us a review or something. It's fun to read. We only have one written review right now, but a lot of like 5 stars. So
on what platform are you talking about?
Any platform. Just go type in Graham and Ashkahn and anywhere that you can rate us.
So far there's only one review on internet for us, but
iTunes I think is the actual. I think you're supposed to have an iTunes account and log in. It's all very complicated. But you know, if you'll have some downtime when you're pouring bleach into your float tank. So
take a little sip. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye everyone.